So welcome to our weekly market update, guys. I see Santiago said I got a prospect I talked to over the weekend, interested in the Dream for All program. The appointment is scheduled for tomorrow. Congratulations,
Right.
Santiago.
Very
That's
good.
wonderful. Awesome job. Awesome job. As you guys know, the Dream for All is here. If you have not gotten a flyer from Rosie and Nancy, it is here. It is an appreciation, a shared appreciation loan program. They do have to take a class. It does kick off, I think, February, in the middle of February, um,
February 24th.
February 24th. So it is gonna be, and the money is gonna go fast, you guys. It went fast last year. Okay, so it's gonna go fast this time. One of the buyers must be first generation homeowner. Okay. That's disqualifying quite a few of my buyers, unfortunately. Their parents own homes. Um, but nonetheless, there's other programs besides that one out there, right? So don't despair. Just get educated on the different programs, and you can ask our folks about that here, our lenders about that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's hop into our weekly market update. You guys know this is your market update, so feel free to ask me questions if you have questions. Hop right in. All right, so you guys all know BTCPA compliant. Do not call people on the do not call list, please, 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 because you will get your hand slapped. You will get a fine if that person reports to you and wants to, take it further. You got to be careful about also using bots or not virtual assistants because those are live people, but using AI. Okay, definitely be careful about that. All right, Los Angeles County. Let's look at where we're at, guys. So, for sale properties is up 6.9% as compared to last month. Okay. And overall, it's up 8.7% over last year. So, right now, for sale properties, we've got more inventory on the market than we did last year to the tune of 8.7%. Sold properties are down 39.9% as compared to last month and only down 2% as compared to last year. Okay, so we are starting the year off slow, right? A little bit slower than we anticipated. Pendants are down 6.9% as compared to last month and down 5.4% over last year. Okay, so two out of the three major sales trends in our area in Los Angeles County are down. Not down by much, right? But still trailing last year. So we are going to keep an eye on that because interest rates actually have been are down. I mean, we're the lowest we've been since last year, right? Actually, for the past couple of years. So really, we really should start to see buyer demand pick up more. And we are heading into our buying season, right? We are heading into the highest tide, if you will, of the real estate cycle. All right. New listing inventory is up 63.9% over last month. So we just got a big bump, right? And down 14.7% overall. Okay. So new listings, we don't have as many new listings on the market as compared to last year, same time in the year. Now, this is just the first 25 days of the year. Keep that in mind. Okay. Just the first 25
Mhm.
days of the year. Okay. So we'll take a look at how, well, that's why we're here. We're going to keep monitoring this and seeing if Los Angeles County bumps up in terms of new listing inventory. Average active price is down 0.1% as compared to last month and down 7.1% over last year. So basically, on average, in LA County, sellers are asking for 7.1% less than they did last year. Okay.
Mhm.
However, they're receiving 1.3% higher than they did last year. So average sold price is 1.3% higher than last year. Okay. So although they're asking for less, they still are receiving more. To the tune of 1.3%, which actually is keeping in line with the predictions that the growth of the appreciation is going to be fairly flat this year, or in like 2 to 3%. Right? They're like saying it's going to be very small amounts of appreciation this year. Okay. Let's see, what do we have in the chat? The new agents wait until spring and summer. Homes will sell fast. to the new agents, wait until spring and summer. No, don't wait.
No way. Don't
Don't
wait.
wait. Don't wait. Just hop in there, right? Because a lot of times we make our own market. Okay. You have to get out there, just kind of like Marlena was saying, get out there. But I do know what you mean, Santiago. Traction will pick up naturally spring and summer. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And with that, don't wait. Get out there now because you've really got to start talking to people now because home
Hmm.
buying is not a split decision,
Hmm.
right? You just don't
Right.
wake up and be like, I'm going to buy a house. And you may say that, but then there's a process to getting pre-approved, to getting all your paperwork together, yada, yada.
Hmm.
And that normally takes people 30 to 60 days to get through that process for themselves, talk to their people, figure out what they really want to do. So you want to start talking to people now, new agents, and letting them know that you can help them get to that place where they're ready to buy or sell.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a
Months of
poor.
inventory. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, that was a poor choice of words right there. Sorry, guys.
No, 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 no. It wasn't. It was okay, Santiago. We knew, we got what you meant. We got what you meant. Um, Months of inventory is down or up, I'm sorry, 76.9%. So last month we were at 2.6 months of inventory, currently at 4.6 months of inventory. Overall, a 9.6% increase over last year. Last year we are 4.2 months of inventory, currently 4.6 months of inventory. So guys, what market are we in LA County?
Looks like the normal market.
Yay! Good job, Danila. We are in a normal market, guys. In LA County, we are in a normal market. But what do we have to also look out for?
Being
We're
hyper
making,
local.
thank you, girl. Girl been listening. Being hyper local, absolutely. Right? Because why? Because yes, we're in a normal market overall, but if you're in View Park or if you're in Ladera or if you're in Inglewood or Compton or somewhere, right? And in that particular city, they're still in a seller's market or they've even pushed forward into a buyer's market, you got to be hyper local to know that, right? You got to be doing the numbers at the local level, at that granular level. This is more macro related. And when you guys are out there in these streets doing business, you're going to be more micro, right? Because you're going to focus in on the neighborhood so that you can
Hmm.
give the buyer or the seller information regarding that specific neighborhood and the conditions that exist. Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. So average days on market in LA County has gone up 8.9% over last month. Last month we were at 45 days on market, currently 49 days on market, and up 19.5% overall. Last year we were at 41 days on market, currently 49 days on market. Sold versus original list price has gone down 2.1% as compared to last month. Last month we were at 96% of list price. Currently sellers are receiving 94% of their list price. Same as last year, down 2.1%. Last year, sellers were receiving 96% of their list price, currently receiving 94% of their list price. Okay. Let's go to Orange County. Orange County for sale properties is up 10% as compared to last month and up 10.3% over last year. So again, just like LA County, we've got more existing inventory that has come on the market. Okay. Sold properties are down 35.5% as compared to last month and down 6.2% over last year. So the first 25 days of the month in January definitely has gotten off to a slow start in Orange County, a little more slower than even in LA County, okay, because we're down 6.2%. Pendants are up 4% over last month and down 9.2% as compared to last year. Okay, so we're really going to be monitoring LA County to see if it starts to show that it's picking up. Orange County new listings is up 46.7% as compared to last month and down 24.2% over last year. So we just haven't had as much new inventory come on the market in Orange County as we did last year. Okay. Let's see what we got in the chat. What is the reason behind the market being slow? Okay, hang on. Let me go back. Going back, can you please clarify what 4.6 means for months of inventory? Sure, Andy. What that means is that if you were to not put any more properties on the market, it would take 4.6 months for all of the inventory to sell. Basically, you're saying the market would absorb, that's why we call it absorption rate. The market would absorb all of the inventory in 4.6 months. So from 1 to 4 months of inventory is typically you're in a seller's market because you have so little inventory that the buyer demand is eating up all of that. Okay. When you get to 4 to 6 months, that's called a normal market where buyer demand and seller supply basically level out. For every buyer, you got a listing. Okay. That's, just in simple terms. Beyond that, 6 months and beyond, you typically are in a buyer's market where your supply is going to outweigh or outnumber your demand. Okay, you got more houses on the market. Buyers have more options to choose from. The sellers tend to give a lot of concessions because they want to sell their properties, that kind of thing. Buyer's market, right? Seller's market, neutral market, normal market, then or seller's market, normal market, and then buyer's market. All right. So that's what that means. Okay. Let's see. You're very welcome, Andy. And then what's the reason behind the market being slow? The market being slow because interest rates, people are still on the fence about interest rates, and it really comes down to affordability, Santiago. It comes down to affordability. People are looking at the interest rates, they're looking at how high the prices are, and it comes down to affordability. We also have, although we have more inventory than we have had on the market in quite some time, we still need more inventory. We have an inventory shortage overall. Okay. So we still need more inventory to come on the market. Okay. So all of those factors blend in to create a slower market. People waiting to see what's going to happen, right? That wait and see type of thing going on. So those things bring about a slower market. Okay. And not only that, like we talked about, our market is seasonal, right? And so in your winter months, you typically have a slower market than you do when you get into spring and summer, right? Even fall, spring and summer. So we are facing that. We are in just the natural slowdown of our market. So that's also impacting us. It's just impacting us a little bit more than it did last year. So that's what we're seeing. So, all right, let's go. We talked about new listing inventory being down 24.2% in Orange County as compared to last year. So not as much, definitely double digit decreases in the new listing inventory. So we'll be wanting to keep an eye on that. Remember, because in Orange County has the least amount of inventory in all the other counties, right? Out of all the other counties. Okay. Let's see. Average active price is down 5.4% as compared to last month. And down 15.9% as compared to last year. So on average, active sellers are asking 15.9% less than they did last year. However, look at that number. They're receiving these first 25 days of the month, they're receiving 12.7% higher than they did last year. Okay. So that's a huge number. Yeah. That's a huge number. But what I would probably guess is that there hasn't been that many sales so far in Orange County. And so there probably are a couple of properties in here that sold for a really higher price that's causing this number to be kind of skewed a little bit higher than it should be. I think that what we're going to see is as we go on in the months, this number is going to come down. But definitely on average right now, it says that, they're receiving 12.7. Let me see something real quick.
What else?
Yeah. So looks like 1,060 properties pended, 885 properties sold. I'm looking at this number, you guys. 885 properties sold so far this month. That's what that's telling me. In Orange County, that is. So yeah, so 12.7, that is a high number. But we'll keep an eye on that. But again, remember, like you said earlier, Danila, being hyper local, you're gonna be able to break that down because you know that in some areas in Orange County, that's simply not the case, right? Um, let's see. They did say on the news that warning that states Americans don't think the middle class lifestyle is unattainable. Americans don't think the middle lifestyle is unattainable. This is due to ring prices are increasing, especially in the real estate market for certain areas, of course. Got it. Okay. Yeah, they just said this morning that states Americans don't think the middle class lifestyle is unattainable. That's good. That's a good thing that they don't think that it's unattainable.
No,
Um,
attainable.
oh, they don't think it's attainable. That Americans don't think the middle class lifestyle is attainable. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I don't listen to the news. So that could probably be true. Some believe that. What I do know, Santiago, is that Americans still believe in home ownership. And that's what we're here to help cultivate is people who believe, I mean, Americans still believe that home ownership is the way to wealth as well. And most people who are here in America want their dream is to own a home, right? So we really want to fan that dream and fan that encourage, if you will, that dream of home ownership and help those who can attain it to make it happen. Sometimes where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, and we just have to be creative and help our clients figure out that way.
Yeah, that is.
When you go out.
Yeah, that is
So,
true. I mean, that is kind of like that prospect I mentioned like earlier in this meeting. Um, his credit score is like pretty bad, and he like makes like around 4,500 before taxes.
mhm.
But he's still interested in the Dreams for All program, and tomorrow we're gonna see if he actually qualifies for it.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to remember, sometimes they don't qualify, but they can bring on somebody to help them qualify, right? So sometimes you have to bring on your mom, your aunt, your uncle, whomever to help you to qualify. Siblings. I've seen families go in together. It again, where there's a will, there's a way, and then sometimes it's not possible. So we have to keep that in mind as well. All right. So we talked about average active price. Did we? Yes. Average sold price, yes, because there's that big number, 12.7%. All right. So months of inventory in Orange County, like this is Andy, what I was talking about. You see in Orange County, 71% increase over last month. But last month we were sitting at 1.7 months of inventory, currently 2.9 months of inventory. And then our year over year comparison is a 20.6% increase. Last year, we were at 2.4 months of inventory, currently 2.9 months of inventory. So you can see, as compared to Los Angeles, Orange County is still in a seller's market, right? Because we lack inventory. Okay. We lack inventory to keep up with the demand. Okay. Average days on market, 19% increase. We were at 42 days on market, currently 50 days on market. And you may say, why is days on market going up? Because regardless of the fact that we are still in an inventory crunch in Orange County, we did increase inventory. So it went from 2.4 months to 2.9 months, which means your days on market is going to go up. Okay. And then year over year, a 25% increase. Last year, we were at 40 days on market, currently 50 days on market. Okay. Don't let that fool you, though. We've talked about this a zillion times. Do not let that fool you. If your buyer is interested in properties in Orange County, you need to get out there right away because you really don't have 50 days to be waiting. Okay. Sold versus original list price is down 10.5% as compared to last month. Last month, sellers are receiving 95% of their list price, currently receiving 85% of their list price. So something went really low. In Orange County, there may be a couple of properties that really sold low in Orange County, which then we have to look at that. There's some funky things going on in these numbers here. I wish the report let me break it down, but it doesn't. I'm gonna have to ask my rep. So let's see, 96% of list price, sellers are receiving 96% of their list price last year, currently receiving 85% of their list price. And again, these numbers, guys, we would have to really dive into because you know for a fact, most sellers aren't going to want to receive 85% of their list price. They'll be like, what the heck? That's like saying if I put the house on the market at 100,000, they only get 85,000, right? So now if 100,000 was grossly overpriced for the market and you got 85, well then there you go, right? Because you were fishing to begin with. But if we competitively priced your house at 100,000 and you only got 85,000, you'd probably be, or even we priced it at $1 million and you only got 850,000, right? That's a big difference. Let's look at that because that's more likely in Orange County is no. So if you price it at $1 million and you got 850,000, that's pretty low. So a seller's going to be like, what happened? Like your strategy didn't work, right? So we'd have to really take a look at that. All right, Riverside County, third county of the day. For sale properties is up 4.5% as compared to last month and down 2.2% as compared to last year. So unlike our first two counties, Los Angeles and Orange County, the actual for sale inventory has gone down as compared to last year. Sold properties is down 35.5% as compared to last month and down 13.4% as compared to last year. So again, this number keeps getting bigger as we keep going up in our counties. In LA County, in Orange County, it was like 8% or something like that. Here it's 13.4%. So definitely off to that slow start. Pendants are up 24.2% as compared to last month and up 15.9% over last year. So it looks like Riverside County pendants are actually up as compared to last year. So we will see that trickle into our solds, hopefully, and push us closer to where our numbers were at last year. We'll see if that actually comes about. New listing up 35.9% as compared to last month. However, it's down 21.5% overall, okay? New listing inventory is down across all of our counties, okay? Average active price, no change as compared to last month in Riverside County and a 2.1% decrease as compared to last year. Basically, what this is saying is in Riverside County last year, the average active price was $933,000 and currently it's $913,000, okay? That's average active price. Average sold price has gone up 3.9% over last month, and up 1.6% as compared to last year. Okay. So although they are asking for 2.1% less, sellers are selling for about 1.6% higher. Very nominal, right? That's, like I said, flat appreciation, 2 to 3% is what they're saying we're going to see this year. So this is right in line with that so far in the year. Months of inventory is up 60.8%. Last month we were at 3.3 months of inventory, currently 5.3 months of inventory. It's a big jump. A 12.7% increase as compared to last year. So last year we had 4.7 months of inventory, currently 5.3 months of inventory. Okay, so definitely in Riverside County, we are in the normal market, right? Definitely seeing that. We've got a normal amount of inventory. So in this market, buyers do have a few more choices. Properties do sit on the market a little bit longer, right? Sellers do offer some concessions, although not wild, because depending on the area, your property could still be in a hot area and could be still having multiple offers, right? This isn't a catch-all. However, it is saying that more than likely, you're not going to see that huge, that big multiple offer situation out there. You're gonna, if you got a listing out there, you can expect to get a buyer if your property is competitively priced, right? Not multiple buyers, but a buyer, one buyer. Okay. And it only takes one, right? It only takes one. That's all it takes. Average days on market is up 9.8% as compared to last year. Last month, I'm sorry, we were at 51 days on market, currently 56 days on market. And then a 12% increase over last year. Last year, we were at 50 days on market, currently 56 days on market. Sold versus original list price, no change across the board. We are sitting at, sellers are receiving 96% of their list price in Riverside County, okay? That's pretty high, and that's good, right? No big swings in Riverside County. All right, let's hit San Bernardino County, our last county of the month of the day. For sale properties is down 3.8% as compared to last month, and up 2.1% over last year. So we got a little bit more inventory over last year. Sold is down 31.1%, so 31.1% less closings than last month, and 6.9% less closings than last year. Okay. Pendants are down 4% over last month and up 0.8% over last year. Okay. So San Bernardino County doing a little bit better than the other counties in that two of the three major sales trends are in the green, right? We've got more inventory, we've got more pendants, but we do have fewer closings. Okay. Let's see. Riverside and San Bernardino homes sell like hotcakes. Yeah, they can. Absolutely, they can. Typically, they're lesser priced, right? They're a little bit lesser in price. So and really, how they sell is based on a lot on your strategy. We always talk about this, that as a listing agent, you influence that property selling, right? By the pricing strategy and the marketing strategy, right? All right. New listings are up 28.2% as compared to last month, and down 20.1% over last year. So not as much new listing inventory as we started off with at the beginning of last year. This year, right? We're down 20.1%. All right. Average active price is up 0.5% as compared to last month, and up 1.9% over last year. So on average, sellers are asking 1.9% higher than they did last year, and they're receiving right now 3.1% less than they did last year. So in San Bernardino County, we're seeing prices actually depreciate to the tune of 3.1% less than they did last year. Again, you're going to be hyper local because you need to take a look at that particular neighborhood, right? And see if they're actually going up or down, because this means that some areas are up, some areas are down. This is an average, right? So you have to definitely take a look at that. So you'll know how to advise your clients and set the proper expectations, right? As you move from a seller's market where sellers were selling like hotcakes, now you're moving into a normal market where now they're going to sit on the market for a little while, right? They were selling before they even hit the market, right? They were selling like this in a seller's market. Now, when they're not in a seller's market, they're looking at you like, why can't you get my property sold? If you haven't set the proper expectations and told them and showed them the numbers as to what's really going on in their neighborhood, so that they're not looking at you crazy and asking you why my house isn't selling. You have to educate them, right? All right. And if your clients like going to the casino, there are two in those areas I can recommend. Thank you, Santiago. I love it. All right. Months of inventory, 43% up as compared to last month. Last month, we were at 3.3 months of inventory. Currently, 4.7 months of inventory. And then the overall comparison is a 9.4% increase. Last year, we were at 4.3 months of inventory, currently 4.7 months of inventory. So definitely, just like Riverside County, we are in that normal market in San Bernardino County. Average days on market has gone up 3.4%. We were at 58 days on market last month. We're 60 now. And then an overall increase of 15.4%. We were at 52 days on market, currently 60 days on market. Sold versus original list price, no change last month. We're at 96% of list price. Currently, a 1% decrease as compared to last year. Last year, we were at 97% of list price. Currently, sellers are receiving 96% of their list price again, which is good. We're in the upper 90s, right? And sellers, we are the ones that help to influence that number for them. We're the ones that help them with their pricing strategy to price their properties right so that they don't sit on the market, right? So that they're not chasing the market, but they're pricing ahead of the market. All right, guys, we are done with our numbers. So let's move on to our upcoming events. We actually have a really packed week this week. So really want you guys to attend. We have a couple of lunch and learns this week. I'm excited about both of them because they are really good for us to have. Well, let's get into it. So we got our update. Then we have group coaching with Diana this afternoon at 12 o'clock. New agents, mandatory, be there, okay? Group coaching is not optional. You guys should be at group coaching, okay? Mandatory, you should be at conversations in real play. The more you practice, the better you are, right? That's a given. The more you practice, the better you are. Then we do have our lunch and learn. Our first lunch and learn is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I believe it is. Let me look. Sorry, guys. It's not even, I don't see. It's at 11 o'clock. It's at 11 o'clock. And yeah, 11 o'clock. I didn't see it right here. Okay. And it's learn how to pick up 20 listings in a year using the Pacific Coast Title Toolbox. So this is going to be an awesome class, guys. And this is taught by Jorge and Anthony. You guys need to be in this class. Learn different strategies that will allow you to pick up 20 listings. Who wants 20 listings this year?
I do.
Absolutely, right? We should all be that. We should all be saying yes. So learn how to pick up those 20 listings using the tools that you guys that are free. These are free tools. And learn how to pick up those 20 listings tomorrow. And it's a lunch and learn. All righty? Let's see. Yes, I'm there. Absolutely. Okay. I love it. You got our tech workshop Wednesday at 1 o'clock with Martha. Guys, we've got broker hour with Ed on Wednesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. You guys know that that's on Zoom. Ed is going to be talking about the California Purchase Agreement. He's going to be doing a summary on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, he's going to be doing the for sale by owner single party agreement and the non-represented buyer agreement. Okay. So those are Zoom only. Make sure that you attend. To me, as a newer agent, these should be in your rotation, right? Go to your classes, and then after your classes, you start your lead gen, right? If you're a full-time agent, you attend your training, you start your lead gen. If you are not a full-time agent and you're a dual career agent, then we got to look at really identifying what classes you need to attend so that then you can absolutely do your work and then absolutely get into your lead gen, because your lead gen is super important, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then we've got this class, which again, super excited about. This is a lunch and learn for a property management company. So from one-time commission to long-term revenue, the power of property management partnerships. Okay. So he's going to be talking about how he helps us to maintain our client relationships, even if they're renting out their units, right? And they're renting out their units. These guys they don't do real estate. Okay. They actually give those leads back to us and help us to maintain those relationships. So if you need to partner with a property management company, if you don't have a property management company that you refer out, this is a great one. They're coming in to talk to us about their services. I was very impressed with this is a mom and pop business, but they're top 100 property managers. It's amazing what they've been able to accomplish, and they grew. And this is Willis. He's a youngster, and it's his family business. He took over, and of course, like youngsters do, they bring in the technology, and he's helping his family business grow, but he's doing it through relationships and through partnerships. And so I think it's a really good class for us to be in, and learning about how we can partner with them.
And Brandy, I can't see the time. When is that?
That one is 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock on the 30th.
On the 30th. Okay, got it.
Uh-huh. 1 o'clock, absolutely. 1 o'clock on the 30th. Ed's class mandatory as well. Yes, absolutely. Ed's class is mandatory as well. Thank you, Eileen. Absolutely. But Ed's class is also recorded. Keep that in mind. So if you can't catch it, you can catch it on the recording as well. Okay. Let's see. We've got Ignite After Dark. If any of you guys are new agents and you have not taken Ignite and your dual career, this is perfect. This is online, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tuesdays. Scan the QR code, take the class. This is a great class. Ignite is our flagship training program. It's how you go from zero deals to getting into production. It teaches you how to build your business. It teaches you about working with the buyers, working with the sellers. So really your mindset, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So really getting into Ignite to me is one of those non-negotiables. And if you're dual career, it's at night. So there's no excuses. Okay. All right. No, we talked about this, the Airbnb referral program. Listen to your podcast. Stop overcomplicating your tech stack. This is David Voorhees. He is actually, I didn't know his story, but I was listening to it this morning. He's actually, he heads up labs, which is in Keller Williams, how we test the technology, how we implement technology, but we test it first, research with our agents and all that. And he heads up that entire division. And he's talking about, and he's a real estate agent and he's a broker. So he's talking about the technology that he uses, and he's talking about the best practices with technology. Okay. So it's a great episode. Listen to that. It's actually like 38 minutes, not even that long. And then Rituals of Recovery, what elite athletes can teach us about high performance. This is Jay Papazan. You guys know he's Gary's right hand. And you know, I'm a huge sports fan. So he's really talking about what we can learn from the discipline, the rituals of high performing sports figures. We are high performing. We want to be high performing realtors and brokers and agents. So we need to have some of the disciplines and the rituals that these high performing athletes have. We can learn a lot from them. So this is going to be a great episode. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm excited to do so because again, I love sports. I think they teach you a lot about life, but they just have great lessons in terms of that can be applied to business. All right. Industry news. So the Fed, let me see something real quick. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. The Fed meeting preview, limiting impact of Trump's housing plan. So this article had so much in it, but bottom line is that they are not expecting the Fed to cut the rate. They're meeting tomorrow, the 27th, 28th. They're not expecting the Fed to cut the rate based on inflation and jobs reports. They're saying that first of all, we're supposed to get a new Fed chair. Trump has top 10 folks that he's interviewing. I don't get political. If you guys know me, I'm not going to get political. I'm just telling you what the report says or what the article says. Okay. Bottom line is that they're saying that Trump's housing plan, it really is not going to impact because Trump is trying to make things more affordable. And I commend him for that. We need more affordability, right? In our housing market. But the issue is housing supply. And that's one of the biggest issues is housing supply. And what all the experts are saying is that his particular housing plan basically bans corporate from purchasing properties, right? Well, corporate only owns 1% of the housing supply. So that doesn't make that big of an impact on housing supply, banning them from purchasing, right? So so that's what they were talking about as far as the ban is concerned. They did in a bipartisan vote, the House of Representatives has advanced the Affordable Homes Act. That has uh, a lot of different implications in this Affordable Homes Act. It talks about lessening the barriers for developers, right? So that they would build more for builders, so that they would build more, so that we could have more inventory. It's talking about doing some things with with the mortgages, right? So they haven't even released like all of the things. So really want to get our hands on what this Affordable Homes Act entails. But I do know that it talks about lessening the red tape for builders so that they can build more, right? And tax incentives for sellers, tax incentives for builders, things like that, so that more people would sell their properties, stuff like that. Okay. So that's something that we're going to be keeping our eye on. We've got a lot of potential changes coming up. You guys know that for the last 3 meetings that the Fed has held, they have they have cut the rate by 0.25 points, right? Or 25 basis points. They cut the rate. Okay. And that has, although it does not directly impact the mortgage rate, we know that it does indirectly impact the mortgage rate. And we have been on like a 2-month slide when it comes to interest rates. Interest rates have been going down, down, down. They just ticked up slightly. They talked about it in this article from 6.06% to 6.09%. But that's very nominal, right? And we're talking about low sixes. If you're FHA, because that's the conventional rate. If you're FHA, you're actually even lower than that. You're in the like 5.55, 5.65%. So that's great, you guys. I mean, we really need to be getting the word out there to our buyers that like interest rates are really lower right now, lower than they've been in 2 years. So let's go. Let's see. Tracy, go ahead. Tracy, what's up?
Okay, can you explain a little bit more, like when you said like the whole thing about when the feds lower the rates, but then that doesn't directly, because I think when people hear they lower the rates, you're saying it doesn't directly affect mortgage rates. How can we explain that better to a buyer or potential buyer?
So what I would tell you to do is to chat GPT it to explain it. I'm not the best person to explain it because it's actually a little bit more complicated. But what I will tell you is remember, the Fed lends the banks money, right? And so when they're lending the banks money at a certain rate, okay? That rate, and I don't know what the current rate is, but let's just say the rate they're lending it at 3%. When they cut the rate, that means now they're lending it, let's just say they cut it at 25 basis points. That's just 0.25%. So now they're lending the banks the money at 2.75%. Okay. So now that means the banks can lower their interest rate, right? It doesn't mean that they will lower their interest rate. It means that they can lower their interest rate. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I say it's not directly related, because just because the Fed cuts their rate, the rate that they lend the banks money, does not mean that the bank is going to cut its rate. That's why it's not directly related, but it's indirectly related because if they cut their rates, typically you will see the mortgage rate go down. Now, it may not immediately go down. Sometimes it goes down within a week or 2 weeks, right? And sometimes what you'll see is, okay, the banks are like anticipating that the Fed, they're having their meeting like last week. The Fed is having their meeting. The banks are looking at that. They're listening to all the reports. They're listening to everything. And the banks can say, you know what? We think that the interest rate is they're going to cut the rate, or that interest rates are going to or the Fed is going to cut the rate. Then they bake it in. They go ahead and they reduce the rates. You'll see them go down slightly. And then when the Fed cuts the rate, nothing happens. Why? Because in anticipation of the Fed cutting the rate, they already reduced the rate. The rate already went down. So that's why it's not a direct impact. And when you're telling your clients that, you're just saying that it's not a direct impact. Just because you hear that the Fed is cutting the rate doesn't mean that it's automatically going to reduce the mortgage rate. However, there is an indirect relationship, which means that typically when that rate comes down, you will see a minor reduction in the interest rate, the mortgage interest rate over time. It sometimes it doesn't happen immediately. Like I said, sometimes you'll see it in 2 weeks. Sometimes you do see it immediately, right? But remember that mortgage rate depends on a lot of different factors. One of the things that they were talking about in this article is that the interest rates went down. And let me see if I can find it real quick, because it was so interesting to me. I was reading, I was like, oh my God. Hang on a second. Kept the article up so that I could tell you guys. Okay, so the 30-year rate dipped briefly below 6% earlier this month after President Donald Trump directed Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to buy $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities. However, the rates reversed direction when Trump floated the idea of seizing Greenland, and a proposal that intensified international tensions. Do you guys see how
Politics.
delicate our interest rates are, right? How it's based on a lot of different factors. So some of which aren't even the jobs reports, aren't even the inflation reports. We're talking about political factors that go into the interest rate going up or down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So those are things that I'm sorry if I did a very poor job of that.
No, that's amazing. That's good. The more I hear it too, is just kind of like, helping strengthen my, confidence in explaining it. But I mean that it makes sense, because it's like they'll hear something on the news, they're like, oh, the rates dropped, and it's like it's not necessarily meaning that. So yeah, no, that was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, it's something that Tracy, for me, even I because people, that's what they do, right? They think that, like, oh, the rates went down, so they automatically think that. And I've been preaching that now, because I used to think that, quite frankly, I really did. And then when I started becoming more educated on it, I was like, okay, no, it's not. Anyway, we could get even more in the weeds, but we won't do that today.
And I think too, we don't have to be the experts in it. We can defer them to our lenders that,
Absolutely.
can properly, because I want to stay in my lane too. I don't want to like speak out of so yeah, no, that's good.
Absolutely.
Just to have a general
Absolutely.
knowledge of it, at least. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. No doubt. All right. Let me see. Did I have another one? Actually, that was the one that I was sharing with you guys. Yeah. We are just, as you guys know, we're seeing a slower start, right, to the year. We are seeing that in our reports. We're seeing a slower start to the year. Pending sales were down in December, 3%. This is national news, though, guys. This isn't California. We're seeing this on a local level because we're reporting our major 4 counties. Okay. One of the things that I want you guys to be aware of is this statement right here. Life happens events like job and family changes are expected to have a greater impact on home sales this year than mortgage rate shifts, according to the First American senior economist Sam Williamson. We heard this with Brian Buffini as well. Okay. So what I'm telling you guys, pay attention to your sphere. Pay attention to their indicators. We got some of the best ways now to stay in touch with people with social media, and they tell their whole lives on social media, right? They if it's a baby, if it's a marriage, if it's the marriages in the dumps, you probably gonna hear about it on Facebook or Instagram, right? So if it's job promotions, right? Whatever it is, they're living out loud. Pay attention. Okay, because those are indicators on moves, people making moves. If they're having a baby, maybe they need a bigger house, right? If
Right.
they're relocating, oh, do you need help finding a home in a different area? And remember, you can always refer people to agents in different areas so that you guys can get a referral fee, right?
Mhm.
And it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go get the referral fee. No, you're going to do some due diligence. You're going to call a few agents. You're going to interview for your person, right? And then you're going to refer them to an agent that you feel comfortable with because you've done some due diligence. So you're going to earn your referral fee, okay? But definitely, I want you guys to pay attention because yes, our sphere give us they tell us what's going on and what they need from us, and how we can help them. And a lot of that you can find out right in your social media. Okay. All right, guys, that is all for today. Hang on, let me look at the chat real quick. Yep, talk to your lenders. I was
Thank
going to
you,
suggest doing some
Brandy.
research. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you guys are so welcome. Thank you, guys. Again, let me know if you guys have any questions. Be at your classes this week. We got a jam-packed week of good stuff. So be there. And again, let us know if you guys need any support. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brandy.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.